Good evening, my friends. Tonight we're going to talk about how God could see evil as good. And I'm sorry that I've, been slacking, but been thinking about this and I just want to share. Here's the conclusion that I've come to. You know, God wanted to create his creation to have a free will. He cannot help but know what the consequences of that free will would be. He cannot help but know every choice that everything he creates would ever make. He's God. I mean, he knows everything. He knows the end from the beginning. So he knows before he even speaks a being into existence or forms a being, everything that thing is going to do. So when God created Satan, he knew that Satan would do what he did. So God clearly had, you know, this was the way things had to go down. Free will was the way that things had to go down, where people would be able to choose, beings would be able to choose, angels would be able to choose. And what it all boils down to is that this was inevitable. But God made a way for us to be saved from the very beginning through his son Jesus. That was all part of the plan. And what it all boils down to is Romans 8:28. And we know that all things work together for good to those that love God, to those who are the called according to his purpose. And it basically boils down to that right there. Like God works everything out together for the good of those who love him. For good. Everything's working out for good for those who love God, for those who are the called according to purpose, for those who will be with him forever. And the only things that will endure are whatever endures with him. So everything that doesn't endure, everything that God is himself enduring right now with long suffering and patience, the evil that he's allowed to happen, and even in some way, you know, he allowed it to happen, and you could say he even caused it to happen because he created creation this way for it to be able to choose evil. But it was the best way. This is the way that it had to go down, and we can trust that everything's working out together for good. And someday in the infinite future, this 6,000, 7,000, even if Jesus doesn't come back for another 5,000 years, and creation, or even if Jesus doesn't come back for 1,000,000 years, even if somehow we had another 1,000,000 years before Jesus came back, that still would be nothing in comparison to eternity. Like, it would still be worth it. You know what I mean? But now, I mean, it it probably isn't going to be more than a, 7,000 year deal. If it makes it to 10,000 years, I'll be surprised. But 10,000 years compared to eternity of bliss and no more evil, like, this is worth it. And it's working together for something greater so that we could this was the way for God to create things for us to be able to have that with him, because without evil and the sacrifice of Jesus sanctifying us, there would be no way that we could live with God or even be filled with his spirit and be his vessels and his temple and his body, which is what we are ordained for. So keep that in mind when you think, why did God say evil was good? It was good for us. Because if evil never existed, then we would never exist. Okay? Because we're evil. Amen.